Salvete Discipoli and welcome to day 29 of our distance learning. So the topic for today, we are going to be talking about Fabula Mirabilis. Okay, now please remember, you had submitted a formal written out translation of that story for me last Tuesday. That was day 25, I believe. So if you could please get that. All right, we're going to go over that today. Yeah, it was day 25. I just double checked it. Okay, so we're going to, in this video, review a translation of the Fabula Mirabilis story, which can be found also on page 106 in your textbook if you would prefer to follow along that way. Okay, and then for homework, today while you're watching this video, what I'd like you to do is please write down and submit 8 grammar questions from the video with their answers. Okay, and if you have any other grammar questions on like why something is like that way, that's a good question to include too. Like if you're actually curious and you don't know the answer, all right, but otherwise submit 8 grammar questions and answers that I say out loud during this time. Okay, I also thought I'd include a spicy meme because you know I think I'm funny, I guess. Yeah, a lot of times in like TV shows and movies and stuff, they use Latin for like spells. It's kind of funny. Usually it's bad Latin too. It's almost as if someone was like, "Oh yeah, let's make a spell. Let's pick up a Latin dictionary and look up the word for lightning." That's kind of dumb. Anyway, sometimes it's cool, but whatever. Thought it was kind of funny. Anyway. All right, so what we're going to do, first things first, we're going to read through the Latin. So for this part, I'd like you to definitely repeat the Latin after me, okay? Because even though we're not in class together, it is still important that you are saying Latin out loud, okay? So here we go. Please repeat after me. Multi amici cum caecilio cenabant. Felix quoque aderat. Omnes amici quoquum laudaverunt, quod cena erat optima. Postquam omnes cenaverunt, Caecilius clamavit. Ubi est decens? Decens non adest. Tum Caecilius clementem e vila misit. Servus decentem per urbem quaesivit. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Postquam servus e vila discessit, Felix poculum hausit. Tum libertus fabulam mirabilem narravit. Olim amicus meus ex urbe discedebat, nox erat, sed luna plena lucebat. Amicus per viam festinabat, ubi silva erat, et subito centurionem conspexit. Amicus meus centurionem salutavit. Okay, one more. centurio tamen nihil dixit. Tum centurio tunicam deposuit. Ecce. Centurio evanuit. Ingens lupus subito apparuit. Amicus meus valde timebat. Ingens lupus ululavit. Et ad silvam festinavit. Tunica in via jacebat. Amicus tunicam caute inspexit. Ecce. Tunica erat lapidea. Tum amicus rem intellexit. Ille centurio erat versipellis. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I just did that. I'm sorry. Let's try that last line again. Magistra just had a total brain fart. Ille centurio elat versipellis. Sorry, I don't know if you guys caught that. That was a bad one. Oof. I'm getting old, guys. Old as can be. And it is scary, let me tell you. Alrighty. So for this next little portion of the Latin stuff, I'm going to write out a translation as we go. Okay, but first, we're going to do a markup, and I'm going to ask some grammar questions along the way. Okay, actually, you know what? We're going to have to do it this way. That way we can see everything. All right, now if you notice on the right side of the screen, I did include the vocabulary, okay? I did include them, you know, fully, like with the full forms and everything, not the silly, you know, one-worded glossed vocab that they give you in the textbook, okay? This has the dictionary forms, okay? And it's alphabetized. So if at any time during the translation you're not sure of what a word is, just look over here, okay? And that will give you a little bit of a guideline, okay? So here we go. All right, so remember our color coding. Nominatives, actually I'll write it down here. I forgot to do that before. Okay, so nominatives, accusatives, not ace, silly goose, verbs, and prep phrases. All right, those are the things we're dealing with. So anything in the nominative case is highlighted in red. Anything in the accusative case is highlighted in orange. Anything that's a verb is going to be in blue. And prepositional phrases are circled in purple. That's not purple, but you know what I mean. Okay? So that's what we're working with. So rather, instead of marking everything up, it's just color-coded, or it's a different way of visualizing the Latin. So here we go. Multi amici cenabant cum caecilio. Okay, now notice multi and amici, they do have the same ending here. Okay, they're both nominative. Multi is your adjective and amici is your nominative subject noun. All right, they go together. And we know that that's possible. Why? Because our verb is cenabant. All right, that's plural. And our nominative subject noun is also plural. Okay, so here we go. Multi amici, many friends. kenabant. All right. Here's a question. Kenabant. What tense is that, and how do you know? Okay, answer. Kenabant is imperfect because of the ending. Look at the tense marker. Okay, it's got a BA in it. That tells you it's imperfect. Okay, so many friends were dining. Cum Caecilio, with Caecilius. Okay, question. Why did Magistra not translate Caecilio here as Caecilio? Because his name is Caecilius. All right, if you look over here, notice that names are listed just as any noun would be listed. Okay, so names do get declined. Names change forms. All right, that happens. Okay, that's our first sentence. Next. Felix quoque aderat. All right, so first things first, our verb is aderat. It's singular. Felix is your subject noun. It's nominative and singular as well. All right, so many friends were dining with Caecilius, and Felix quoque also aderat, was there, was present. Omnes amici quoquum laudaverunt. All right, so that first part, our verb is laudaverunt, and it's plural, so we have to have a plural subject noun. We have one. Okay, it's omnes amici. Those two things go together. Okay, quoquum, the ending on it tells me it's accusative, so it's our direct object here. So all the amici, all the friends. Laudaverunt, praised the quoquum, the cook. Why? Quod means because. Because the cena, new subject noun here, linking verb, and predicate adjective. Okay. All right. Because the cena, the dinner, erat, was optima, was great. Okay. Now, here comes a grammar question. All right. In Latin, actually, in this sentence that we just dealt with here, okay, there were two parts. There was a main clause and a subordinate clause. Which one's which? Okay, remember that the main clause is a clause that can stand on its own. The subordinate clause is the clause that cannot stand on its own. So it's the one that's going to sound funky when said by itself. Okay, so your main clause, this is your answer here. The main clause is omnes amici quoquum laudaverunt, right? That would make sense if I said all the friends praised the cook. That's a full sentence, that's complete, and it can totally stand on its own, right? But if I were to say quod cena erat optima, right, because the dinner was good, or sorry, because the dinner was great, like that doesn't really make sense standing on its own. Okay, it needs the support of the main clause. All right, it leans on the main clause. That's why quod cena erat optima is a subordinate clause. All right, even though it's got a subject noun and a verb in it, okay, it's because of this quod here, that little because. All right, that kind of changes things a little bit. All right, because in Latin makes things tricky sometimes. Okay, anyway. postquam omnes cenaverunt. All right, so cenaverunt is your verb, omnes is your subject noun. So postquam, after all, omnes, after all, cenaverunt, dined, comma, Caecilius clamavited. Caecilius shouted. And what did he shout? He shouted, Ubi est decens? Where is decens? Okay, remember, decens is a name. Okay, decens non ad est. Decens is not here. I don't like that. Decens is not present. Okay. Now, in this sentence, we've seen two tenses. Okay? Grammar question. In this sentence here, whoops, I went a little too far. In that sentence, which two tenses do we have? And which verbs are which? Answer. Okay. Cenaverunt and clamavit are both in the perfect tense. Okay? And we know that because the endings tell us so. Remember our perfect tense endings? I, isti, it, imus, istis, and erunt. Okay? You've got erunt here and it here. All right, now est and ad est, those are in the present tense, okay? And that you kind of just have to know, just also because sum esse fui futorum, all right, that verb, where that comes from, is irregular and weird. Okay, so anyway, moving on. Whoops, sorry. Okay, tum Caecilius Clementem Aevila misit. Okay, then Caecilius misit, sent Clemens Aevila out of the house. Okay. Question. Look at this verb here, misit. How do I know that it's perfect? How do I know to translate it as sent rather than send? Answer. This is a two-part answer. Okay, so make sure if you choose this grammar question, you have to write both things down. Okay, misit, all right, you can tell partially by the ending it that it is perfect. Another indicator are the principal parts of the verb itself. Okay, you can tell because misi here gives you the perfect stem, and you see the perfect stem here. Okay, if it was present, it would be mitit. Okay, and so you see how that could be kind of confusing? All right, because this has an it in it. All right, so if somebody didn't know any better, they might say, oh, that's perfect. Okay, because it's got an it at the end, but it's not. Okay, and we know that because the principal parts tell us so. All right? The principal parts. And it's the stems, right? You get your present stem from the second principal part. and you get your perfect stem from the third principal part. Okay, and that's why I had you guys go over that day 3 video, the lesson on the perfect tense, the other day. Okay, because I want you guys to review that. That's super important. Okay, anyway. Last but not least, servus decentem per urbem quae sivit. Okay, the slave, the servus, the slave, quae sivit, sought decentem, decens, per urbem, through the city. Okay, so that's that. Next bit. All right, that was the first 5 lines. Okay, notice I did include the line numbers for you, and I typed it out just as it is in the textbook, so you might not get confused. All right, so let's move along here. Okay, you know what? Let's take this with us, shall we? So we don't forget our key. Copy, pasty paste. I'll put it over here so we remember what's what. Okay. Now, same thing here. Okay, all the vocabulary that we're about to be working with can be found here. It's alphabetized, and I've given you the actual dictionary entry. Okay, so it's like the real thing, not the lame-o, name-o of the game-o in the textbook. All right? So, postquam servus evila discessit. All right, let's actually zoom in a bit, because that's a little small. Sometimes it's kind of hard to format these things, you know. All right, that's good enough, I guess. All right, so postquam, after the servus discessit evila, after the slave left, or set out from the house. Felix poculum hausit. Felix drained the wine cup. Okay, you could say his wine cup. That's acceptable. All right. Felix drained his wine cup. All right. Is there anything I want to ask here? Okay, tum. Then the libertus narravited his fabula mirabilem. Then the freedman, he narrawit, told his marvelous fabulam, story. Okay, I'm going to hit you with a grammar question. Here we go. All right, so take a look and focus on fabula mirabilem. Okay? What does that phrase comprise of? As in, what does that phrase, like, what's it made up of? All right? You've got a noun, fabulam, which I'm going to highlight it over here. So fabulam comes from fabula fabulae, which means story. Okay? And then you've got mirabilem, which comes from mirabilis, mirabilis, mirabile, which means marvelous or strange. It's an adjective. Okay, so you've got your noun and you've got your adjective. All right? Second follow-up to this grammar question here. Okay. In English, which comes first, the noun or the adjective? Answer: in English, the adjective comes first, right? So I would say marvelous story in English. Okay, follow-up question. In Latin, what comes first, the adjective or the noun? In Latin, the noun comes first. Okay, so story marvelous. Okay, dress blue. That's how I remember it. All right, and just as a side note, if ever in your wonderful lives you guys decide to take another Romance language, you'll find that there's a lot of similarities too. Like in Spanish, I believe it's, the noun comes first, then the adjective. I think I asked my sister, in French it's the same. Okay, and I would assume that in all the other Romance languages, it is that way as well. Okay, so Latin, super useful, can help you learn other languages too. Next, anyway, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox. Olim. All right, so now the freedman is telling his story. Olim, amicus meus ex urbe discedebat. All right, so once upon a time. No. Nope. Oh, here we go. This is going to be the time. We're going to just wait for all those messages to come in. We're going to ignore them. Once upon a time. Amicus meus. My friend. Okay, notice it's the same thing here. Friend my, right? But you have to, in English, switch them. So my friend, discedebat, departed, see, I caught myself here. All right, grammar question. What tense is discedebat? And how do you know? Answer: it's imperfect. It's got bot as its ending. So once upon a time, my friend was leaving ex urbe, from the city. Okay, you could say out of the city too. That's fine. Okay. Nox erat sed luna plena lucebat. Okay, now this is where it's going to sound a little funny. Take this as a chunk, okay? Now, would it make more sense if I translated this and said, night was? Or would it make sense if I said, it was night? It makes more sense if I said, it was night. So I'd say, it was night. Okay. Said, but the luna plena, the full moon, lucebat, was shining. Okay. Grammar question. When you see a word like that, okay, when you see said, all right, we know said means but. Okay, so question. If you see the word but as a conjunction, can you expect a similar idea to follow up? Or can you expect a change in ideas to follow up? You can expect a change in ideas, all right? That's your answer. Okay, and that's how little transition words like that can help you, all right? It's indicating, it's like, whoa, hey, reader, check it out. There's some contrasting idea coming up. Okay, pay attention. Okay, as opposed to et, which means simply and. Okay, and would indicate maybe a similar idea following. All right. Let me just erase some of this. It's a little congested. Sorry for the font size, guys. Okay. The amicus festinabat per viam. The friend was hurrying per via, through the street. Well, I wouldn't say street, because here you'll see why I made that change. Through the road. Okay. Ubi erat Silva. Where there was a forest. Et subito, and suddenly, he conspexated a centurionem. He caught sight of a centurion. Okay, that's a type of soldier. Okay, that's a type of guard. You'd see them wandering a lot, guarding things in the street. And LV. Okay. Now, here's a question for you. This is more of a context question. Why did I stop myself and change my translation of Wiam before from from street to road? Okay, answer. In the context, all right, if you're nearby in a if you're near a forest, all right, the chances that you're on a street are not so likely, okay? Chances are you're outside of the city, in the country, okay? And there are no streets in the countryside. There are roads in the countryside, okay? But there aren't streets. There are streets in the city, okay? So that's why I changed it. Streets are to cities as roads are to countryside. Okay, even roads can also be like outside, just the outskirts of the city too. Okay, so that's why I made that change. That was just a little context thing. Makes more sense. All right, amicus meus centurionem salutavit. Naturally. Okay, so my friend salutavit, greeted the centurion. Next. Centurio tamen nihil dixit. Okay. Sorry. Nevertheless, the centurion dixit said nothing. Uh-oh. Maybe he's got the Rona. Just kidding. Then, tum, the centurio tunicam deposuit. Okay, then the centurion deposuit. He would it make more? So here's a question for you. All right, we've got two definitions here: to take off or to put down. Which one makes more sense in the context? All right, the story didn't say that the centurion was like shirtless and wandering the countryside. So he's clothed, obviously. So it would make more sense then, here's your answer, to say take off. So then the centurion took off his tunic. Ecce, behold. centurio evanuit. The centurion vanished. Subito an ingens lupus apparuit. Suddenly, an ingens lupus, a great wolf, appeared. Amicus meus timebat valde. Okay, my friend was fearing greatly. Okay, grammar question. What part of speech is walde? Answer: walde is an adverb. Okay, and a quick side note about adverbs, they don't change form. Okay, so you will see, like this walde, it's just going to be that form forever and ever till the end of time. All right? Next. Ingens lupus ululawit. Oh. The great wolf. Whoops. We can spell. The great wolf, ululawit, howled. Okay. And, all right, here's one of those times, right? We've got a transition word, all right? Is it going to be a similar idea or a contrasting one? Okay, it's and, so it's going to be a similar idea. Okay, and he festinawited, he hurried, ad silvan, toward the forest. Okay. Grammar question. Who is the subject of festinavit? Answer: the ingens lupus. Okay, there's no new subject introduced, so you just kind of continue to use the one that you've been using in that sentence. Okay. Tunica invia jacebat. Okay, the tunic Jacebat was lying in via, in the road. Well, makes more sense if we say on the road. Okay. Amicus tunicam caute inspexit. My friend inspected, examined the tunic cautiously. Okay, or carefully, rather. Quick question. What part of speech is caute? Caute is an adverb, all right? And remember, adverbs don't change. They look the same, all right? And they usually end in an E like that, okay? Oh, well, some of them. Some of them end in an E. Okay? Ecce, behold. The tunica erat lapidea. Okay, subject noun lapidea is, I'll tell you in a minute. The tunic, erat, was lapidea, made of stone. Great gadzooks. Okay. Question. Why did I label this as a PRA? I labeled it as a PRA. It stands for predicate adjective. Okay, I'll spell that in case you need to write it down. Okay, and it comes from the adjective here, lapideus, lapidea, lapideum, meaning made of stone. Okay, like the thing made of stone. Alrighty? Finally, we're coming to the tail end here. Tum, the amicus, intellexited the rem. Then, the friend, intellexited. Okay, now, remember, I think when we first actually started on like day 1 of this distance learning, we did a vocabulary lesson, and I remember saying something about the word, I'll highlight it here for you, res rei, feminine, meaning thing or matter, or, Okay, remember I said that it was one of Latin's most versatile words because when it's used with specific verbs, it means something very specific. Okay, so here, when rem is used with intellexit, the verb, okay, it just means to understand the truth. All right, that's just one application of it. All right, so rem is kind of one of those cool words. It's accusative here. All right, but it's being used as with intellexit. Okay, so then the friend understood the thing, understood the truth. Okay. Ille centurio erat PRN versipellis. Okay. That centurion erat was versipellis, a werewolf. Okay, final grammar question for you. Why did Magistra mark up versipellis as PRN? Okay, she marked it up as PRN because PRN stands for predicate nominative. All right, and it comes from this word here, versipellis, masculine. It's werewolf. Also, well, more a shape changer. Okay, it's a noun. All right, so rather than over here, right, when we used an adjective, right now we're working with a noun. Okay, and that's the difference. That's the difference between a predicate adjective and a predicate nominative. Okay, predicate nominative is kind of just like a sweeping term. All right, so a predicate adjective can be a predicate nominative, but a predicate nominative, okay. Right, so there's two different things here. There's like a predicate noun, which is a predicate nominative, and a predicate adjective, which is a predicate nominative. Okay, because they're both in the nominative case. All right, so just know the distinction between the two. That's just a quick side note. All right, so that was it for the story. You should have written down by now 8 grammar questions with their answers. If you were not sure about something that I said or something I talked about, that can be submitted as one of your questions, and I'll try to get back to you about that as soon as I can. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you guys are doing all right. Yeah. And again, if you guys need anything at all, whatever, comments, concerns, confusion, just email me. Okay, don't comment on the Google Classroom because that is such a pain in the booty. I have a million gazillion emails coming from Google Classroom and I can't sift through them all in one day. It takes a while. Okay, so just send me an email to my inbox. All right, as a reminder, my email is sslade@gmail.com. gakali.com. Okay? So shoot me an email. Look forward to hearing from you. Even if you want to just check in, whatever. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great one. Walete.